Here we go. I'm going to just share my screen, and forgive me for some of the tech stuff. Not my strong suit, for those of you who know me. So thank you for coming. Most people that have signed on I've known, but I did have a few people that said they'd like to join. They're newer and they may come on later. And so, as you know, we're in a very different time right now, and I thought I would do a series for those that may not necessarily have, a wide network or support. And I'm just admitting all again, and just share some of my knowledge, but also open it up because there are so many people that have other skills to bring and to share with others. So that's what the intent of the mentor circle is. So today, what we're going to talk about, and I want this to be as interactive as possible, we're going to talk about mindfulness and self-care for leaders. And it's really important. And when I talk about leaders, I think about leaders as everybody anyway, but especially if you have a small business or you are managing a team, it's really important right now. Also talk about mental health and well-being. And if you have a team or operate a small or medium business, you will want to talk about how you can share those learnings. I've just been admitting people, so I'm a little bit preoccupied. That's when you think you need an assistant to run all that. And then if there's time at the end, just talk a little bit about some of the updates on the government programs and open that up for questions, and then more of a Q&A depending on how we do. So first of all, for those of you who don't know me, I am a workplace expert. And I don't want to tell you how long I've been working, but it's been a long time. And, I'm an employment lawyer, HR professional, and I'm a business owner. I've been in business roles before. So I bring all of that in to my expertise. And really what I want to do is help companies create amazing cultures that will drive revenue growth. Obviously, this is impacted at this time as well, but it doesn't mean that we can't still continue to lead with heart and try to implement some of the practices that I think are going to help companies be sustainable. And we all have a part in that. So what I'd like to do is just open it up for a quick roundtable. Just 30 seconds, who you are, what brought you here today, and what you'd like to get from this. I know there are a few people here that are actually experts in this whole space of self-care and mindfulness and meditation. They have, some great expertise to share with us as well. And so I'm going to just start, if it's okay with Nicole. Nicole is going to be joining me for the summer as part of my team, because unfortunately her co-op was canceled with one of the hospitals. She just finished her HR. I'm telling you about yourself, so maybe you can hop on and tell us about yourself before I steal your thunder.
No worries. So I'm a recent graduate from the Humber program. That was HR post-grad program. So it was a 1-year crash course in HR. So I'm very new. I don't have a whole lot of experience, but I did just finish an internship at Toronto General for this past winter term. And then I just got in contact with Helen's, and she told me about this, and it sounded really interesting. I think it's really applicable, especially for everything that's going on today. So I don't have a whole lot of experience as you guys may have, but I'm very excited to learn more.
That's great, thanks. And I'm so excited to be working with you this summer.
Me too.
And because one of my passions, as you know, is mentoring. And so if I can help the next generation of HR professionals, that's an honor for me. So Marcella, do you mind hopping in quick?
Good morning, I'm Marcella. I'm a massage therapist and a business owner. Our business is closed now, and I'm enjoying the self-care right now. I meditate with people and do lots of mindfulness work as well. Right now, I just want to stay connected to the business world through Helen. So thank you, Helen, for doing this.
Oh, and thank you. And I will send your information as well at the end. This is just some housekeeping. After today, I will send the slides. I also will send some of the links so that you have that and some other helpful information. Marcella leads, has led in-person meditations and, mountain meditations. And so she's still trying to do that in the new world with Zoom as well. So Jenna, I know you have to be in and out, so I would love you to introduce yourself, and you're actually mentioned later in the well-being section as well. So if you want to just introduce yourself quick.
Yeah, so I'm Jenna Smith. I'm in a cottage in Goderich, Ontario, and I work internationally with, I call them sensitive, intelligent powerhouses that hold it all together for everyone else. And so my passion is helping people return to their being. And so there's a level of productivity when we align with our nature that is actually surpassing the traditional busy, working model. So that is why I am here. And so I like helping people to resource and return to that nature, and then also discover that their productivity can be like 10x and also enjoy it. Just like, go figure. So that's my jam. And yeah, Helen and I were just chatting, and she was going to use one of my tools that we worked on together on like managing energy. And then I was like, oh, I can come. So here I am.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you're here too. And we met through the organization SheEO, which is a fantastic organization to help women-led entrepreneurs, businesses. And I worked with Jenna for my own, getting myself back to getting more into my body, getting out of my head. You know, the legal background in me is like overanalyzing everything. So we worked together, and it was just an amazing experience for me and really brought me back to my center. And, I have a lot of support, so I am continuing to grow with that too. So Natalia, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. So I am a mindfulness and leadership coach working with both individuals and organizations, especially on the topic of leadership and resilience, because I believe resilience and managing yourself is fundamental to managing and inspiring others. And mindfulness and awareness is really at the core scale of resilience, which is a process. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, and it's just a perfect time for you to try to be getting out there. And I think for many people in this space, because especially, business leaders, they often are so focused on, revenue and growth and not thinking about themselves. And that shift, I think it's a perfect time with what's happening in the world to shift into some of these practices. So I'm really hoping we can really spread this right now. I think who else? Louise, I think you're on. Louise Sullivan. Oh, sorry, Louise Stevenson. And then there's Laura Sullivan. Can you hop out or even just verbally introduce yourself quick?
Sorry, I'll just take myself off mute. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. Louise Stevenson, and I'm an investment advisor with RBC Dominion Securities, and I could do a lot more educating of myself on mindfulness. So it's something that I always talk about doing, and I never quite get to. And it would be really helpful for me as I help my clients. Obviously the markets have been incredibly volatile, and doing a lot of calls, as you can imagine, with clients, and I think there's lots of opportunity and no need to panic, but it's hard right now for everybody with all the volatility.
Well, this is great. I'm glad you're here then, because the women here are really, there's a lot we can share with each other. I mean, it's taken me a long time, and believe me, there's days where I revert back if I don't create those, routines and habits, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. So I'm so glad you made it. Thank you. Is Laura on? Laura, do you want to hop out, or even just verbally, if you want to just say a quick hi, if that's okay, if you can?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Sullivan, and I met Helen through SheEO also. So as soon as I read the title, I was like, yeah, I need to be here. I do mentor early stage technology companies in Alberta through a program called Venture Mentoring Services, and right now I'm an interim COO for a a fairly early stage education technology company, a global education technology company, and our local division just went through a massive layoff. Literally, when we shut down COVID, because we operate in schools, we lost 100% of our revenue. And you know, I need some personal love, because I thought I had amazing coping skills. I thought my yoga and my daily practices and everything were good, but I definitely am feeling the stress of the times. And so looking forward to sharing with all of you.
I appreciate you sharing that openly, because it is, you know, I think that people are trying to put the brave on sometimes, and it's real, and we need to feel that. And so it's really important to take that pause. And I'm working, one client I work with right now is a nonprofit, but the revenues were quite high, like 10 millions, because they worked with the film industry. And now the same thing, everything's shut down. And so we're having to reset, look at the wage subsidy. And so we can talk a little bit about that too. Those are the practical business things. But if you can't breathe into it, like I can see the tiredness coming out of people on the Zoom calls, and it's so, so important to take that pause and reflect. So thank you. And I think who else joined? I'm missing anybody. That might be it. Oh, Louisa, are you there?
Hi.
Oh, Louisa, I'm so glad you joined. I just got connected with you like literally the last 2 weeks or something. So yeah, do you want to do a quick intro, and then we're going to dive in, because I'm mindful of time as well.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much for inviting me today, Helen. I really appreciate it. Helen and I have just been connected with each other from a mutual friend, and I do HR consulting as well for small to medium-sized business owners. Our approach has been very hands-on, where we go to the workplace and work with them on various programs and things. So a lot of our businesses, not being essential service, have been shut down. And I have a team that works with me. Unfortunately, I've had to, my team is at home with their children right now, trying to balance the work-life balance. And myself, I'm also, balancing with my children, but still working on supporting those essential businesses that I still do have that require the support. And it's tough because I'm not necessarily part of their organization, but I wonder, should I be going out there, or am I doing my part in social distancing at home? I've been home, but it's hard to support people when they're challenging, when they're going through these challenges, right? In terms of laying off their staff and making these difficult decisions of these businesses that they've grown from the ground up. So definitely finding value in this conversation for sure today. And also hoping to get tips myself, on the mindfulness, because who can't use that right now?
Okay, well, this is the perfect crowd for it, because it's just a good mix, and there's some experts on here. I won't profess to be an expert in it, but I have used a lot of practices that have really, really helped me. I used to be a pretty high energy, on the go all the time and trying to do too much. And so it's like been really good for me to kind of practice some of this myself. And I feel like I have been able to get through this a lot more calmer than maybe some others, because I'm not letting it, Marcella, where is she? I'm not letting it come into my little, bubble. Only positivity coming in and out. So we try. So I'm going to dive in, and then I'll open it up for discussion, comments, and I'm really appreciative of all of you being here, and want you to stay healthy and well throughout this time. So what is mindfulness? For people that know me, I love language and, use of language, and I'm always looking up definitions. I don't know what it is. I've been doing this forever. I love to look up dictionary definitions. It's a bit strange, but anyway, and I'm trying to get my kids to do that. I used to say, okay, we're looking up one word a day. A great learning. But I think the key here is, and you can read this later, but a lot of it is, it's that being, which Jenna can share some tips on just getting to your being. Nothing right or wrong, but being conscious or aware of something and trying to focus on that in the present moment. And you hear about this, but how do you live it? So if you can just really get into it. And so one of the things that Laura mentioned, you know, about feeling your feelings, you know, like not trying to be strong all the time, but actually being in that moment, even if it is a negative one, and letting it feel it and then deal with it. I find, you know, even if you have kids at home or if you're working on talking on the phone to a COO or something, it's like, don't be thinking about all the other things that you need to do. Don't be thinking about the past. Just be present there. And that really does help with productivity. And it does also help you to understand. And that was really a lot of the work that I did, where I would be in my head so much and not realizing, wait a minute, I'm not enjoying this. Like, I am stressed out. I am burnt out. I'm just on that hamster wheel. And, you know, I'm not loving this, like this commute for 45 minutes a day. So once you start to get those bodily sensations and be able to identify like emotions and feelings, I think it helps you with some clarity too. One of the things I'm doing right now, and with the Greater Good Science Project at University of California, Berkeley, they're offering free education. You can get a certificate too, but I thought I don't want to pay for it right now. I'll see what it's like. But one of them right now is an 8-week on the happiness project. And so these are free resources, and they walk you through all of that. And if you can just make that commitment, their definition is, again, very similar. It's about maintaining moment by moment awareness of our thoughts and feelings and bodily sensations. But I loved what they say about through a gentle, nurturing lens. Because one of the things, and I think we're all women on this call, and depending on whether you have a family now or other caregiving parents, we're nurturers. Well, that's why I think it's important, like that kindness to ourselves always doesn't happen. We're beating ourselves up so much. We're worried about not doing a perfect job. Have to let that go and like be gentle with ourselves. So I love that part about the gentle lens. I don't want to click on this link because my tech skills are not, as I said, my best. I'll probably lose. But I think that helps me kind of think about, well, what is mindfulness? It's easy to say, but how do we do it? And then, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with acceptance. And one of the things when I worked with Jenna and others, I often think about, you know, the no judgment. And I think in our society, it's really hard sometimes because we come with different lenses that, you know, we acquired through our experiences. And so, you know, I think when we can get to that part of even not judging ourselves first, so this is related to self-care and to just being, you know, what's right for someone or wrong. Like, why do we put labels? That's another thing. That's another topic for another day. It's labels and language, because, you know, we label a lot, right? And then, you know, practicing mindfulness is really just, again, so much of it is present moment. There's a lot of lists, a lot of books that Jenna can recommend. We are not trying to rehash the past or imagining the future. But sometimes we still have to work through our past, which I did a lot of, and I'm not afraid to say it, you know, counseling is very good. Sometimes I said, I wish I had it 20 years ago, but, you know, it's important to get through that. But what you learn is how to just bring yourself back to here. So I am going to open it up because I want this to be interactive. I just thought that would be helpful to kind of set the stage for the discussion. And then, you know, when we think about how we can help each other and leaders, how we can be mindful as leaders, you know, I want to open up like what resonates with you, you know, if you have any tips for yourself, do you think that mindfulness is part of self-care? And why do you think it's more important now? Like, Is it more important? It was always important. Let's be real here. Everybody here knows that, and that's why they're here. But, you know, why do you think it's even more important now? So if anybody would love to share an insight, Jenna, were you wanting to say something? Because I think this is, you know, something that you lead with a lot.
This is my jam. And mindfulness, you know, there's a billion different words that people use, but it really is being here, being in your body, and the space underneath thinking. And I was just thinking when you were speaking, Helen, is like, we've just led such a mind dominant life. And then that's the place where we get scared. And that's the place where we can't access possibility and creative thinking, is this cognitive overthinking mind. And so it creates this feeling of being alone and scared and not having the resources. And if we want to get into creative possibility, we have to be in our body and our being, like you were saying, Helen. And it's always there. So if we calm down, we go for a walk in nature, like it's always there. We don't get there. We don't make it happen. It's so funny because it's who we are and how we were born. It's our nature. And as we return to that nature, we can feel resourced. The earth is taking care of us. Our heart is beating. Our lungs are working. So many things are working with us, for us. And we start to see clearly, and we start to see that we're not alone and we're all in this together. It's so funny to see this all in this together everywhere. And I'm like, do people really feel it though? And so all of that's always available to us. And I think that's the most nourishing, loving, oh wait, not something else to do. It's something to return to. So that's my piece, is just trusting, and then trusting that our presence is enough. We don't have to hyper vigilantly prepare and overthink. We can genuinely arrive in the moment, and intelligence will come from us, from all of our years of creating skills and acquiring knowledge. We can just genuinely be present and trust that that is enough, because we're so afraid of getting it wrong and looking bad. And it's just like, no, actually, you just being you genuinely, without all the noise, it feels better. And our intelligence works much higher. Our brain works better, and we just feel better.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think back to when we started working together, right? And I just love that, you know, that growth, to be able to have done that work, to allow me to be who I am, and just being able to share this. And I don't know if Marcella's still on or not, but I think, you know, that was the other thing, is that sometimes we hold back our skills too. Mm-hmm. And we all have something that we can do for others. And so how are we finding our place? And I love what you said about, like, are we living this? We're all in this together. Because for me, as you know, connection, I love being in the space with people, and I love hugging. So, you know, I think that, you know, how do we navigate that? And, you know, part of me is like, wow, we've escalated the ability to get on Zoom, and it's going to be, you know, helpful for people, you know, who had 3-hour commutes. But it's, you know, how do we navigate this way? And also just be there and not just be talking. Like, so thinking about leaders here is like, we can all say we're going to be in this together. We can all talk, but are we living something? Like, are we supporting what we're saying out there? Like, I think all this marketing right now. And I mean, here's the thing. I was planning to do all of this, and then I was on that journey, and I don't want to be seen as, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get out there market. I'm just being me and sharing what I have to share and bringing people together, which I love to do. So I think, is there anyone else that would want to, you know, pipe in right now? We do have a bit to cover.
I just want to mention something that I'm seeing a lot in my coaching, and I work a lot with HR leaders and with individuals. And one thing that I'm seeing is that people still talk about productivity. How do I increase my productivity? And, you know, and I think people forget to recognize that we are in a reduced capacity state, right? So if you think about your emotional capacity and your energy from stress management, right? You're almost having like mini hijacks, many stress hijacks every day, because there's just so much coming from the media that's scary, that uncertain. Like every time you come out outside, there's reminders of isolation and other things. And so more of your cognitive processing is actually taken by that subconsciously, that we don't realize. And so the capacity is smaller. But instead, the images we see of people picking up new courses, launching podcasts, kind of out there. So we then create this expectation that we're supposed to be more productive. And then, you know, our reality, we don't understand that we are actually at a lower capacity. And so that gap becomes wider, creating more stress for people, right?
Yeah, I think that's, oops, did I
And I'm not even
lose?
talking about work-life isolation. Yeah, and that leads to
Yeah.
actually more internal stress. And that's what I think
Yeah.
why mindfulness is so important, because it allows you to lower expectations, accept where you're at, and reduce that gap.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think, and that's one of the things that, you know, a lot of people are talking about productivity and, you know, all these, I don't know where, I'm just as filled my days as ever, maybe more. And I'm like, wait a minute. And that's where, again, I think that pause is important, right? The pause to say, okay, well, you know, those are all those rituals and routines and habits that are going to help, which, you know, as far as like, you know, alleviating some of the stress and comparison. I mean, there's so much wrapped into this, as you know. And it's fun, and it's interesting because I want to do a series. I want to have some guests on, and I mean, many people here could be a guest. I love that. Another woman who has always been in the space of how to be more productive, how to, you know, create space. And so there's a lot of the buzzwords again that get thrown out. It's like, well, wait a minute. We need to figure out what people need. And not everybody's in the same boat. I read something recently about this, is not everybody is in the same boat. We say that, but everybody's situation is different. Like young people who are in a small apartment, isolated, trying to get on a meeting, they're by themselves, right? They're not with their families or friends. Others who are juggling the kids at home, the family, too many people taking up the bandwidth and, you know, taking over the space. And so I think that's the other elements of, you know, why is this important now? I'm going to keep moving on, but I really, really appreciate all of the comments. So one of the things, I mean, for those who are newer to this, and I know some of the ladies here will definitely be familiar with John Kabat-Zinn, who is probably one of, I don't know if it's fair to say, one of the gurus. And, you know, if you can do anything, and it's in the resources later, if you want to go into introduction to mindfulness, there's a lot of YouTube videos, there's a lot of his free stuff out there. And he has amazing resources for you to learn. Even the Berkeley site, they start out with John Kabat-Zinn. So again, this wovenness into mindfulness, I think this quote is great, like the compassion and the kindness, right, towards yourself, the self-care. And in order for us to be resilient, to get through this, we have to take care of ourselves, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. And it's interesting because I don't know, even, you know, a lot of times what's happened is leaders don't want to do this stuff. You know, if you think about your corporate clients or some of them, they don't think it's important sometimes. And I had an example in before the holiday season where we bring one of my clients, everybody comes together from across the country. It's a smaller group, but there's like 40. And we tried to do some development as well. And I brought in someone to do a 90-minute session on mindfulness. And of course, the leaders didn't want to do it. And I just thought, no, you are the ones that need to do this. So I'm trying to bring that. Sometimes it depends on the organization, right? But sometimes it's uphill battle, but the team loved it. And one of the comments was, we need our leaders to do this. And so for those that do that kind of support, keep getting out there. They need it more than ever. And so I want to open up. I mean, I have Jenna, there's a link I'll send. She was willing to share her well-being checklist, and Mind Valley has some free programs as well. So for those who want to learn a little bit more about that. And I think so many, like the things I put in here, which I feel are really important right now, is the mindfulness, getting into that work. And for me, what I do is I want to bring the heart and soul back into people so that they can better serve their community and their clients and customers and the world, right? So this to me all links together, and it's just people don't like to hear the fluff, right? They don't like to hear the fluff. Someone's sending me a chat. Perfect, because Jenna just said me. The reason I put Jenna in here, because I was going to do some breathing after, but and I am going to share your checklist if that's okay after. For anybody that participated, I'm going to send them the actual document because it helped me. So I was so hopeful you or Marcella were going to come on and actually lead something for us. So if everybody's okay with it, you can stay on video or you can turn it off, but I think it's really good. So she's going to just kind of lead us through a couple minutes of something to just kind of experience this a little bit. So Jenna, I am having a little bit of difficulty with the speaker mode and stuff. So I'm trying to get you on for you to be show active speaker video. Every time I put it on the big screen, I lose everybody. So I do need to get, actually Nicole, maybe she'll help me with this down the road. We'll learn it together. So I'm going to put you on speaker here. Oh no, wrong person. Jenna, do you want to pipe up and we can all either mute or just?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah. So essentially
there.
it's like we can, so I'm just going to do like 1 to 2 minutes. And this is my favorite thing again for leaders. So like, I've got stuff to do and that's the thing. They're just at the effect of the noise in their head and reacting to the noise in the head. There's not enough time. And we're getting underneath that. So I just want to experientially bring you there, which like, if you are tired and if your resources are low, like you had said, Natalia, it's like, so true. Everyone's trying to keep going and keep doing the thing and like hanker down and push, and it's just like there's no gas in the tank. So this is us returning back to our nature, feeling into our body, feeling into our heart space, because it's our heart space that is our hugest intelligence, especially as women. So this is an experience to re-access this place that will inform and enhance and energize the mind. And women more than ever need to reconnect to this place of pleasure and joy and softness and peace, and not mamby-pamby, feely-mealy, Barney kid stuff. Like, I mean, like deep, intuitive, like the feeling you get when you see a waterfall, like that's feminine presence, right? And so it's not feminine versus masculine. But anyway, I'll dive in. 1 to 2 minutes. So you just close your eyes if it's safe to. You're just going to place one hand on your heart center to feel tactile. We haven't had enough touch. And have that feeling from yourself. And you're just going to bring your attention, intention, and awareness and say within yourself, all of me is here now. And then you're going to breathe into your body and let the breath breathe you all the way down to your feet, like your body's an entire set of lungs. And so literally all of you is breathing. And so just feel that breath and feel the space underneath your hand. And allow the noise of the mind, it might have some things to say. You're just going to bring your attention to your body and to the space underneath your hand. And it's like you take an elevator down from your head and feel the space underneath your hand. This is a space where we can digest emotional energy so it can be reused as usable energy. We can't get there from the mind. And so we can relax the mind and fall into and surrender into our heart space. Breathe into it and feel it, and it will do its job. Just like you digest your food, It's our nature to digest extra additional emotional energy. So if we can stop spinning and come back to this place in our body, in our heart, we just place our hand there, feel the space underneath your hand, feel the chair holding you up, feel the ground holding you up, feel your bones holding you up. There's so much working with you and for you now. And as you come into this space and into your heart space, you're actually activating your creative intelligence and intuition, and you're cleaning off your receivers so you can receive, not overdo. You can actually receive creative intelligence for what you need, where you are right here, right now. And it's all here. So as you come into your body, into this space in your heart, you can feel safe, you can feel guided, you don't feel alone, and you can move and do from there. So there's still action, but it's presence action. So I'm just going to stop there, but that was very short. So I just want to show how easy it is to pop down, and I call it like a gear shift, and then allow that energy to then resource your day or whatever you're up to.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. And I did have a slide later for a little breath, so that was perfect. And, you know, I'm just looking at your earrings and they match my slide. But I think that was, again, and how simple is that? How simple is that? It's not even like a couple minutes to just bring yourself back. And so I start my day every day with the meditation. Sometimes it's guided, sometimes it's not. The Calm app I love. I also love Oprah and Deepak. They have some free 21-day series. And starting your day that way and trying to journal. I'm still bad at that, Jenna, sorry. But I journal. And you know what? I've been looking at my journal and, oh man, I have some great stories. I should just publish them. Like, they're little short stories. They're fun. And it's just, if you can get those routines. And anytime when I used to work at ADP Canada and I was in a cubicle, I was part of a cubicle because it's open. But I'd come from these meetings sometimes and I'd be going on the next one and I would just do this. I would sit, I would take the 10 minutes, I'd put my earphones in and I could block it out and I would just come back and I would do some breathing, and it just really does. And then I just get on with the next thing. So thank you for sharing that. That was wonderful. I'm going to just go through a couple more self-care tips from the Mayo Clinic, and then I'm going to open it up for a little bit of comment on that. I think some of this is so basic, maybe it seems like it, but people are craving like getting back to simple right now, I think too. And I work with a number of women in an incubator, and there's one woman, she's up in Alaska. I love her. She's young and she's a chiropractor, and she's written a book, and she's just a go-getter. And she said her clients that she works with, because she's shifting her business. She closed down a brick and mortar place where she had all kinds of practitioners, and because she got carpal tunnel, so she couldn't even do her work anymore physically. But she said people are asking for simple things like, how do I do meal plans? You know, how do I plan out my meals for the week? How do I just do the simple things? So like physical health, we all know this. How the heck do we forget about it, right? Like 8 glasses of water, you know, do your stretching. Like right now, we're getting to a point where we're almost here for an hour. We're at 45 minutes. So we should be getting up within every hour for 10 minutes. We need to stop booking those hour meetings, really, when you think about it. We should be having that 10-minute pause and do some like calisthenics, like get some energy back. So I think, you know, the exercise, this is all common sense in a way, but we forget sometimes. So just going back to basics. There's lots of supports out there. Some are better than others. Some, they're all over the place, right? So you just have to find what resonates with you. And so it's interesting. Do we start with the mental, the mindfulness first, or do we start with the physical? I mean, everything's connected, right? But I think that what I worry about, and then we'll open it up for some comments, is we're getting more into the tech. right? Like, to be honest, like I am a little bit zoomed out sometimes. Zoom fatigue or whatever we want to call it. It's just like I felt bad because I wanted to hop on with some high school friends on a Friday night at about 8 o'clock and have a glass of wine and chat. And I was just like 40 minutes in and I said, ladies, I love you, but I've been on these things all week and I got to get off here. I'm so tired. It's like, so it is going to be, how do you manage not that much? I feel bad for my son. He's on his games way too much right now. Getting him out for basketball, getting him out for fresh air. He's not doing his physical daily activity, the routine for school. Like he's and he's a teenage boy, just turned 13. So I have to be really careful to kind of also model, right? What you be, they become with your kids. So anyway, I'm going to pause there because there's so much to absorb. We can talk about similar things for employees, but first of all, how was that little breathing exercise? And secondly, do you want to share any tips that you have for managing self-care? Marcella?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to share any of your thoughts on this? I mean, you are one that, think about it, you were leading, retreats, even at like meditations where you would go, 2 hours into the mountains, and you can't do some of the stuff that you do. So that's probably hard for you too, right?
So to see all of you guys, so much energy in all of you and so much deep wisdom. Why don't we quickly connect, okay? So all of you close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out into your diaphragm, as deep as you can, and then extend the air into your lungs. And raise yourself high up to the waterfall Jen mentioned. Stand under the water, let your aura to get washed, your skin, and then let the water wash your brain, your face, your throat, your shoulders, arms. Water is coming out through your fingers, chest, abdomen, upper back, mid back, lower back, hips, pelvis, legs, and water is coming out through your fingers, toes, and heels. Breathe and let the water go through you. Allow the water wash you, and the waterfall will open up. The wall will open up behind the waterfall. Step into the crystal world, and this is the place where we all ladies can meet. This is the place where it doesn't matter that physically you are separated and isolated. Here is the place where we can enjoy each other. So feel each other's presence, feel your energies, and we are gonna create a circle. Take a deep breath in and out and feel your beautiful bright energies. You are like a rainbow, all of you. And we are gonna add to this circle all the goodies that you brought with yourself. Your wisdom, your strength, your joy, your happiness, your laughter, whatever you can put into this circle. Take a deep breath in. And we all can feel each other's energies. Allow the internal love, the love that universe, God loves us with, unconditional deep love. Release it in your heart and share it. Feel yourself being loved, cared for, and allow that love to spread. And your strength is multiplying with everybody else's strength, and the love is so tremendously big. And now we are going to electrify the whole universe around us. Take it again, deep breath in and out. Allow this unconditional love to spread all around us. Thank you, ladies. Your love is tremendous. Slowly take a deep breath in and come back to the earth. 3, 2, 1. You're feeling better and better, healthy and strong. Thank you. You can meet like that with all your family members that you cannot meet in person, people on the other side of the planet. You can meditate like that outside, beyond this place of the earth, physical place of the earth. So that's what I like to do.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was lovely. I think I feel better. Thank you, both of you. Does anyone else want to just share a comment? I mean, it's funny because my breathe slide was coming up, so we're in a perfect cadence. It's interesting because when I think about, you know, the work I do, the workplace stuff, and it's like, why can't we bring this in? It's really, you know, there's a lot of resistance for that, and you know, I think it's just we need to keep sharing and start to experience how they feel. You know, it's a bit of a shift for me to be doing something like this in a way. Like if I think about my lawyer days, it's like I'm just like, hey, let's dispute this claim or something, right? I think that positivity and energy, I'm glad that, you know, I like to be in the room with people, but if we can continue to kind of have these kinds of forums and do that, breathing together, I think it's important. So yeah, if you have any other resources you want me to share, a number of people here, I can send them out to the group. I think if you do have team members, I just wanted to just quickly touch on this topic because I think it's no different, I believe, for the leaders, the same things that we as leaders are doing or helping leaders do. Hopefully they can lead by example and start offering this type of things for their employees as well. You know, not every small business has benefits or an EA, Employee and Family Assistance Program, or EAP as they're called. But there's so many free resources right now. There's been, I don't know if anybody knows Marianne Bainton. She's a guru in the psychological health space. She's done a lot of work with CAMH and other organizations, and she's doing a lot of free webinars that I've been sending to clients as well, because I mean, I love it. I love that people are offering this up, and hopefully they'll continue to do that, especially for people that can't afford a program. But you know, sharing those resources and time with people is really important, and connection. So thankfully, I've been able to share with some employees and get to the next level, because I think that's really important. So if you can continue to do that, I think it's really, really a way to help them. They can start meditating at home, or you could lead one. You know, try something like this with them. You know, the woman that I had in the fall with the one company, they loved it. They loved having her lead through some exercises on how to bring some of these habits and mindfulness practices into their day-to-day. So we are getting close to the hour, and I do have an 11 o'clock. So I'm going to skip through a couple slides. There are, again, just some, I think, really interesting for those that are in the workspace. You know, the Mindfulness and Wellbeing at Work conference, which again is in California. And of course, my dog is barking at the door and there's no one here. I don't know who let her out. I don't know, Joey. Someone will get her in a second. Isn't that terrible? I mean, this is our reality right now. But interesting, because I think a lot of people, there was a lot of criticism about bringing mindfulness training to work. But I think some of it was missing the point. Like, what are we trying to solve with it? Like, what are we trying to do with it? And so this one woman, Jacqueline Carter, who spoke at this conference, was giving an example of construction workers. And think about it, you know, when there's risk of health and safety and there's things that they do every day and all the preventing injuries, they need to focus, right? They need to focus. And so they actually brought in some mindfulness training for construction workers to bring down the level of incidents. And I thought that was really interesting, that you can apply it to so many different specific industries, just a way about being, right, in the present, focusing. And so it links a little bit to productivity in that once you know, get there. I mean, who can picture like a bunch of construction workers, you know, sitting there with their, you know, lunch boxes, you know, taking their breath. I love it. Frankly, I would love to see that in action. So, but I think this is the thing. And more, I mean, if there's anyone that's in the healthcare industry right now, like our healthcare workers, our frontline, you know, they need this. How are they going to get through their days? And I mean, Laura, you mentioned you've been having, you know, a challenge to kind of support, and the same thing with me. I know that some of my clients, the leaders, are going to be laying off people eventually. It's inevitable. And it's like, how do you get them through doing this in a really respectful way too? So I thought I'd share that with you. And then, yeah, I think there's just many ways we can do that. I hope this was helpful. And again, I'll share the resources. I just want to really touch on the government programs quickly for those who are in the business and who can use it. Thankfully, I'm still working. I'm very happy that, you know, some of it is cut back, but I'm not having to do this. Louise, who's an expert in the area of financial, can even help business owners plan for the future too. So reach out to her for some information. I have the links here. There's updates all the time, but I think one of the things to keep in mind is keep going back to these, the Government of Canada website for the federal programs and the provincial and then even municipal level. But if you don't qualify for some of those programs, there is the Canada Regional Development Agency programs as well. And so again, those links are there. So whether it's for you and your business or for others, it's important to keep on top of that. And then later on, we're going to be dealing with return to work protocols. And I've even heard right now about a local company who's in the media right now. They've had 5 cases of COVID and they were still having people come to work. It's like, these places need to be clean. Like there's going to be anxiety for those employees as well, right? So I think that it's really important that we continue to do that. Okay, Natalia, thanks for joining. It was so great to have you. I'd love to have you on as a guest sometime. And then I'm thinking, Louise, if you want to share anything else quickly before we hop off, again, I'll send this to you. And, you know, there's going to be more, and I'm going to be doing these, trying to do these weekly. And just to keep bringing in. So far, I mean, it's been great because I've had different people hop on. Hopefully they'll, you know, continue to hop on. It's whatever resonates with you. Did you want to add anything, Louise, about resources that you can send them my way and I can share?
Yeah, so we've produced a really good summary of both the personal and business programs that are available. So I'd be happy to send that to you, Helen, to share with the group. So it's just a really good summary of the different programs. So we've taken all of the, because I know it's difficult to kind of understand what's happening, and it's being updated all the time. So I'm happy to share that. That
would be great. And this is what, you know, my intent here with these mentor circles is about, you know, peers and others, and just sharing whatever we can. And so I hope everybody enjoyed today. I really, really appreciated you hopping on. I loved the breathing. I loved every aspect of it. I'm always here for questions. I will share the resources. If there's anything that you'd like to see covered in the future, if you want to come on and share as a guest, I'm going to be featuring some guests coming forward. We can work on that. I'm all about supporting others. And so with that in mind, I think I'm just going to, oops, I don't know what I did here. See, my tech skills, I don't know. I don't have time. One thing to share at the end is like, I had this in my last slide the first time, because my series is leadership, layoffs, and love. And it's like, what does love have to do with it? People in the business world don't want to talk about love. And I always want to break out in song here. Jenna, I don't know if she had to leave, but she's a beautiful singer as well. She was a musician before her current, and she'll be bringing her voice back again. But it's everything, right? If we don't lead with heart and heart-centered decision-making and culture and bring all of that, you know, this is a great time to be having that and not afraid of those words in the workplace. So I just wanted to close with that, and, you know, just keep trying to work on being present, do your breathing. I will share the tips, and I want you all to have a wonderful day. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you hopefully again soon. All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you made it. We'll see you again, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Okay.